Okay, guys, so we are on a new unit. This is actually, this is your final unit of the year. It's going to take us a while, though. This one technically has like 16 or 17 lessons, so it's really long. So my plan is to break it up, and you may hate this, but, you know, tough cookies. Basically, I'm going to give you like little mini, like 4-question tests on each section, because otherwise it's way too long to wait until the very end of it to make sure you understood that all. So just know that we'll have 3 little mini check-ins probably along the way, and that'll be better so you don't have to wait till the very end after it's been many weeks since we watched some videos about this stuff. So it's really fun. This is measurement and geometry, but we're starting with measurements first. You did this briefly in 4th grade. You probably remember I did this, one of the last things we did in class before we left for all this craziness was me teaching the 4th graders about things like feet and inches and yards and meters and millimeters and kilometers and stuff like that. So that's gonna be where we start. So this is technically lesson 8-1. It's called Convert Metric Units of Length, and you should be in your SAB ready to go. I also have to apologize for sort of squeezing everything into this page, but I think you need to see it all in order for us to be successful. So I am going to write pretty small, and I'm going to kind of walk you through. Today, I don't expect you to have anything memorized. So this chart that you're looking over here at the left is going to be your sort of best friend today. So it's going to help you convert some units, so that way you can make sure that you're understanding what it is, but don't feel like you have to memorize all of this stuff. Instead, just know that this graph or this information right here is going to be super, super helpful. So let's just jump in and try to use this chart. So this is showing you decameters and hectometers and kilometers, but what's actually really helpful is for you to see what they're referencing. So they're telling you that 1 decameter is actually the same as 10 meters. A hectometer is 100 meters, and a kilometer is 1,000 meters. And then they're also showing you the opposite way, so things that get really small. So 1 meter is technically 10 little decimeters. A meter is also 100 centimeters, and a meter could also equal 1,000 millimeters. So if you remember seeing a meter stick in the classroom, these would be the things that would help you. They're showing you that those 1 meter could be split into 10 decimeters, or 100 centimeters, or 1,000 millimeters. But these are a little different. These are measurement units, so you could travel 10 decameters, or you could travel 1 decameter, which would be like going 10 meters. You could travel 1 hectometer, which would be like going 100 meters. And you could travel 1 kilometer, which would be like going 1,000 meters. So think of these as distances. This is a very itty bitty, teeny tiny, very small unit of measurement, whereas this is a really big unit of measurement. Okay, same thing's going on over here. They're showing you this same information, but this time in decimal form. So a meter is 0.1 decameters. A meter can also be written as 0.01 hectometers. A meter can also be written as 0.001 kilometers. And then you also can tell me that 0.1 of a meter is a decimeter, 0.01 of a meter is a centimeter, and then 0.001 of a meter is a millimeter. So again, I don't want you to be overwhelmed by this today. You're going to be able to use this to help you. We're just going to kind of try to do some computation stuff. So let's look at their examples that they gave us. This one says, convert to a smaller unit. So if I had 2 kilometers of something, how many meters would that be? Well, if there's 1,000 meters in 1 kilometer, that must mean that there are 2,000 meters in 2 kilometers. Then we have the other one, or this one right here. It says multiply because we will need more of the smaller units. Sorry, I should have walked through this. Multiply because we will need more of the smaller units. So you're converting kilometers to meters. So multiply by 1,000 because there are 1,000 meters in 1 kilometer. So they're showing you that that's the same answer that we just came up with. But this time if you're trying to convert to a larger unit, so that means you're trying to go from 50 centimeters to tell me how many meters that is. Divide because we will need fewer of the larger units. convert centimeters to meters, so divide by 100 because there are 100 centimeters in a meter. So there's telling you that you're going to take that 50 centimeters and you're going to divide it by 100, which equals 0.5. This is hard for me to do in a video, but here's what I want you to imagine. This problem on the left is telling you that you had one larger unit of measurement, which is a kilometer, and you wanted to tell me what that same thing would be if you measured it in a smaller size. So 2 kilometers and 2 kilometers and 2,000 meters are the same, but they're telling you that they want you to measure using different measurement lengths. So a kilometer's really long, a meter's not as long, so there's obviously going to be more meters in this larger size. But this one's the opposite. A centimeter is much smaller than a meter, and so because of that, you are wanting to take this smaller measurement and tell me what it is compared to the bigger one that I know. So I want to know how many meters there would be. Well, 50 centimeters is less than a full meter, so it makes sense that my answer would be a decimal point. Again, we're just dipping our toes in today. We've got a lot of work to do next week on measurements, and we're just going to try it out. So this one says 15 meters is how many millimeters? Well, here's what you have to ask yourself. Which one's larger? So here my 15 meters is going to be way larger. So I'm taking a larger measurement and turning it into a much smaller unit, which would be this left side. So I'm going to multiply. So I'm going to take my 15 meters, well, over here, it tells me that there are 1,000 millimeters. Let me get rid of some of this stuff now. There are, excuse me, hiccups, what's new? There are 1,000 millimeters in a meter. So I'm going to take this number and I'm going to multiply it by 1,000. So that means that I should have 15,000 millimeters. Okay, this time I'm going the opposite way. I'm taking a really small measurement, which is millimeters, and I'm telling it to you in a larger measurement. So that means we're going to convert to a larger unit. So I'm going to take 2040 and I'm going to end up dividing it by 1,000 because there are 1,000 millimeters. See here it tells me there are 1,000 millimeters in 1 meter. So I'm going to divide this, and that's going to end up becoming 2.04. All right. Again, I know it's tricky. Just try. Okay. 877 centimeters, and how many meters that would be? Well, I know that there are 100 centimeters in a meter. So because of that, I'm going to take this and I'm going to divide by 100 because I want this to get, tells me here, convert to a larger unit. I want to divide because I'm going to need fewer of those larger units. So I am going to then figure out how to divide by 100. Just a trick for you guys, if you'll remember, the reason I'm able to do this so fast, that's just a matter of moving my place value since it's groups of 10. So since it's 100, there are 2 groups of 10 and 100, so I'm going to move that decimal back 2 places because it should be smaller. Think about it like this. There are going to be way more centimeters than there would be meters because centimeters are smaller. So that makes sense that my meter number would be less, I should say. Okay, so next we have number 7, 2.39 meters to centimeters. Well, this is one where we're going the opposite way. There are more centimeters, so I should have a larger number here. There are 100 centimeters in a meter, so because of that, I'm going to make this number 100 times bigger to make this 239. 4,850 millimeters, and I'm going down to meters. Well, this is a really tiny piece of, tiny measurement, and I'm going to a larger measurement, which means I'm going to divide. I want to know a smaller number here. And millimeters, there are 1,000, and that is 3 groups of 10, because 10 times 10 times 10 is 1,000. So I'm going to make this 10, 10, 10 times smaller. So that means that this number would be 4.85, and then it's okay if you add that 0 on there. Number 11, 8.6 kilometers going into meters. So this time I have got a really big measurement and I want to know what it's like in a smaller size of measurement. So that means that this answer is going to be really big. So because I'm going from something big and I'm trying to make it smaller, I'm going to multiply to show me that there's more of this one. So there are 1,000 meters in a kilometer. So I'm going to multiply this by 1,000, which means I'm just going to go 1, 2, 3, which would make this 8,600 meters. Okay, you guys are doing good. I know this is hard. Stick with me and I appreciate it, okay? All right, 0.36 kilometers to meters. So again, this is a larger measurement. I want to know it in a smaller size of measurement. So this number is going to end up getting bigger than 0.36. It's going to get 1,000 times bigger because there are 1,000 kilometers, or sorry, there's 1,000 meters in a kilometer. So that's going to be 1, 2, 3 zeros, 1, 2, 3 place values to make this 360 meters. 9.2 meters to centimeters. Imagine a meter stick. If you were to take a meter stick and you split it up into centimeters, there are 100 little centimeters in a meter. So because of that, this number should be getting 100 times bigger because I am going from a larger unit of measurement to a much smaller one. So there's going to be more of these little guys. So I'm going to make this 100 times bigger, which was the 2 zeros. I shift to the right 2 times to make this 920. Number 6 is 31 millimeters. Oh man, that's not very many. 31 millimeters is almost nothing at all. So that means I'm going from something really small to something a whole lot bigger. So I'm going to try and shift this 0.31, and there's 1,000 millimeters in a meter, so that's going to be 1, 2, 3, which means that I have 0.031 meters. Pretty tricky. 450 meters, that's going to be a smaller unit of measurement. So since it's smaller, I am trying to convert it to something bigger. So that means I'm going to divide. There are 1,000 meters in a kilometer. So I'm going to divide that by 1,000, which means I need 3 place value shifts. 1, 2, 3. So that's going to be 0.45 kilometers. Oh, same as above. So this is going from meters to kilometers. So that's again going to be divided by 1,000, which is going to be 1, 2, 3. So that's 0.057 kilometers. Okay. And then finally, 41 centimeters into meters. We want to know centimeters is a smaller unit of measurement, and I'm going to something bigger. So again, that's going to be dividing. However, this is a centimeter to a meter, and there are 100 centimeters in a meter. So I'm going to need to shift this 2 back because there are 2 zeros in 100, which would make for 0.41 meters. Whew, I hope you guys are taking a big deep breath because that can be tricky. This problem is the worst, so X this one out. You're not going to do that guy. And let's come over here to a couple. I only have about a minute left on this video, so I just want to show you one of these problems that are word form and how you're going to kind of solve through it, and then your options for your showing your work today. So this says Natasha ran 3.1 kilometers and Tanya ran 4 meters more than half as far as Natasha. Holy cow, you guys, these are hard. How many meters did Tanya run? Well, there's a few things we need to do here. First, we need to figure out how many meters is 3.1 kilometers. Well, kilometers are bigger, so that means I'm going to have more of those meters. So I'm going to have 3,100 meters for Natasha, okay? Then it says Tanya ran 4 meters more than half as far as Natasha. So what's half of Natasha? That would be what? 1,550. But then it also says she ran 4 meters more than that. So then we'll also add 4 to that. So that means that Tanya ran 1,554 meters. Okay? That is a very tricky question. But that's all you're doing. You're trying to figure out how do I convert these from one to another. There's a puzzled penguin over... There's a puzzled penguin over here, so just as a reminder for you, we skip those, but I just want to show you your options for today. We're going to continue to do this, so don't panic. I know this is a little hard. I just want you to try. You can do some from the 8.1 pages. You could do some from the homework and remembering pages, or you could even try an IXL, but I can't have you stop here. You need to try a little bit more practice. So find one thing to do.